Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've been around the Java world for a bit, you know it's an incredibly powerful language. But let's be honest, it's also had some classic, really frustrating problems that we've all run into. Well, a lot has changed. Today, we're going to jump right into how modern Java has evolved and is now solving some of those ancient headaches in some pretty elegant ways.
Oh yeah, you know this one, our old friend, the null pointer exception. It's pretty much a rite of passage for every single Java developer, right? It's the source of so many late nights just staring at your screen, debugging. It just crashes your program. It's a pain to trace, and it's been a thorn in our side for literally decades.
So you're tired of seeing this, right? Yeah, I figured. The great news is that modern Java has given us some really powerful tools to make this error, well, almost a thing of the past. Let's start right there with the most infamous problem of them all. So our first villain on the list is the null pointer exception, the one its own inventor famously called the billion-dollar mistake. For years, the way we dealt with this was just endless if x equals null checks everywhere. But now, Java has a much more elegant hero to save the day.
Okay, so look at this. This slide really tells the whole story. On the left, you've got the classic old school way. You just assume something's there, you try to use it, and boom, your entire program just explodes. That's your null pointer exception. But on the right, you see the modern way. It's like we've added a protective wrapper. Before we even try to use the value, the code forces us to check, is it actually valid? This gives us a clear path to either move forward safely or handle the it's not there case gracefully. No more crashes.
So what's the big idea here? Well, think of optional as a little box. That box might have a value inside it, or it might be empty. And the key is the type system now forces you to ask, hey, is there something in the box? Before you can open it and use what's inside. It completely flips the responsibility from, I hope I remember to check for null, to I must explicitly handle the fact that this value might be absent. It's a huge philosophical shift in the language, all for the sake of safety.
All right, next up, let's talk about something else we do all the time, processing collections of data. For years, this meant writing these clunky, super verbose for loops that, let's be real, were often a nightmare to read and even worse to maintain. The code on the left is the perfect example of those old school loops. It's like some crazy, tangled machine. You have to trace every single moving part just to figure out what it's even trying to do. It's telling you how to do the work step by step. Now look at the right. The modern Streams API is this clean, beautiful, straight-line pipeline. It's declarative. You're not telling it how anymore, you're just saying what you want to achieve. Take these words, do this thing to each one, and then collect the results. It's just so much more concise, readable, and way less error-prone. So how does this magic actually work? It's not magic at all. It's actually a really elegant three-step process. First, you start with a data source and you get a stream from it. Simple enough. Second, you chain together any number of these intermediate operations, things like filter or map or sort, to shape the data. The cool part is, these are lazy, so no work actually happens yet. And finally, you call a terminal operation. That's what kicks the whole thing off, processes all the data, and gives you your final result. This structure just makes complex data manipulation incredibly clear. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about code style, so now let's talk about runtime performance. A classic, nagging problem in Java applications, especially big services, has been that dreaded application freeze, all caused by garbage collection. Just imagine this. Your application is like a really busy restaurant, totally packed with customers. The older garbage collectors were like a cleaning crew that would suddenly burst through the doors, yell everyone out, and lock the doors behind them while they cleaned up. During that time, nothing happens. No orders, no service, nothing. Your application is completely frozen. That's a stop-the-world pause. And for any kind of low latency or interactive system, that's a total disaster. But here's the cool part. The JVM has been on this incredible journey of innovation. It really started to pick up with the G1 garbage collector in JDK7, which became the default in JDK9. The whole focus shifted to minimizing those pauses. And then, wow, we got ZGC in JDK11 and Shenandoah in JDK12. These things are designed for ultra-low latency, with pause times that are often less than a few milliseconds, even with gigantic heaps. They clean up while the restaurant is still running. And the result of all this evolution is just massive. It means modern Java applications can be way more responsive and reliable than ever before, which makes Java an even stronger choice for really demanding, large-scale systems. So we've covered code and performance, but the platform itself has changed a lot.
This is a big one, especially if you're looking at moving from the good old long-in-the-tooth JDK8. The migration can definitely seem a bit scary, but it's really all about modernization.
So if you're making that jump from JDK8, there are a few key things you absolutely have to know. First, the JDK is now modular, and it strongly encapsulates its internal APIs. This is a huge win for security and long-term maintainability, but it can break older code that was using reflection to poke around where it wasn't supposed to. Also, key libraries, like for XML processing, have been unbundled. This gives you more control, which is great, but it does mean you'll need to explicitly add them as dependencies now. And this focus on modernization goes all the way down. I mean, just look at something as fundamental as JVM logging. The old, cryptic tracing flags you see on the left have been totally replaced by the clear, structured, unified logging framework on the right. It seems like a small detail, but it just goes to show how thoroughly the entire platform has been rethought and improved. So, when you put it all together, what have we seen? We've seen how modern Java has come up with these powerful, really elegant solutions for some of its most annoying and persistent problems. Let's be clear, this is not the same Java it was a decade ago. So let's do a quick lightning round of our heroes. We have Optional, which finally conquers the null pointer exception. We have the Streams API, which turns messy loops into clean declarative pipelines. We have modern GCs like G1 and ZGC that kill those disruptive application freezes. And we have the modular platform itself, giving us a foundation that's more secure and flexible than ever. From verbosity to performance issues, Java has been systematically tracking down and solving its legacy problems. So that leaves us with a really exciting question, doesn't it? As the platform keeps evolving this fast, what classic, long-standing challenge do you think it's going to conquer next? Thanks for joining me.